Hello, I'm Lise Colucci, and I'm one of the life coaches at queenbeing.com, where we help you to discover, understand, and overcome narcissistic abuse in toxic relationships. Hello, everyone. How are you today? Today, we're going to talk about something that was brought up the other day. Somebody asked if I could do a topic of self-discovery after abuse, how to discover who you are and yourself, how to learn more about yourself and, all the good stuff. So if that sounds good and you would like to journey together in this healing process, join me, hit subscribe, hit the thumbs up. Let's get started with self-discovery. Hi, Shoshi. How are you? Okay. I'm not going to drop the microphone. Okay, self-discovery. So as we know, as we have experienced, let me back up. If you want text notifications of going live, text me at 33222 and put the word Lise Live, LISELIVE, and I will send you a text about 10 minutes prior to going live. Okay, let's get started. Hi, Iraq Freedom. Hello. All right, self-discovery after abuse. As you know, as you've discovered, as you feel after you've been with a toxic person, or if you have grown up with toxic people, or if you've just been around it, or whatever it happens in your life where you've been exposed to toxic people who take control of your life and manipulate you into a feeling of not knowing who you are anymore. So people often feel like they don't even know who they are. They're like a shell of themselves, they might say, or they miss the person they used to be, but they don't even remember who that really was. It can be, that's what it's like for a lot of people. We spend so much time focusing on the narcissist and focusing on their needs and wants, desires, wishes, just to keep things calm and safe. And we lose sight of ourselves, right? So Shoshi's saying, when I first extracted myself from my ex-narcissist, I did a hard look at myself because I did not want to repeat that ever again. I am the only common denominator in all my relationships. There you go. And see, we have to take accountability at some point for our part in our lives. Doesn't mean we take accountability for the abuse. It doesn't mean we make excuses for the abuser. It doesn't mean we're saying we deserved it. None of that. What it means is we look at the things in our life that were leading us away from self, the true self of who you are, towards being someone that accommodates and bends over backwards to please someone toxic. It's how you can later on, once you know the red flags and once you know what's going on and you know what to look for, when you're entering into new relationships or friendships later on, you can take this information and you can weigh it with what it feels like once you have rediscovered yourself. And if things pull you too far off that course, something's going on, right? So let's see, if I can change me, then I can have a different quality of relationship. Exactly. And if you can know you, sometimes it's less about changing. It's more about discovering parts of yourself that are buried, right? So, and Iraq Freedom is saying, in a hopeless depression, oh, you're feeling stuck. Okay, how can you heal? Well, let's look at some of this stuff. I think some of the information here today might help you because it's all about you. It's not about the toxic people. The more we spend our time and energy focusing on toxic people, the more dark and dreary our inner lives feel, right? And the more stress and anxiety and pain, and the farther we get from our own self. So I tried to see what I was doing that attracted the toxic people. There's that too. So discovering the less, I don't want to say less positive, but the parts of ourselves that we may want to change. Discovering what it is that attracts you to, that keeps you holding on to. What are you needing from these relationships? Things like that can be important. It's one piece of what we'll talk about here. But yes, absolutely that, because then what? Then you change it. But then what else? Who are you besides that? Because you're not just a sum of your parts of yourself you need to change. There's parts of you that are buried under all this other stuff that are waiting to be discovered. Other people see, right? You have potential and you have a place to reach toward that can drive you toward goals and toward a better life as a thriver versus a survivor. Okay, so They seem to be attracted to me. I think they're attracted to anyone who will give them attention. Some of us more than others. Some of us have a lot of light. They're attracted to light. They're attracted to beauty. They're attracted to intelligence. They're attracted to things they can take, things they can own. So yeah, if they are attracted to you, then know that you probably have some qualities that are pretty attractive. And stop focusing on them when we're thinking in this direction, and start focusing on what it is about you that you can respect and honor and serve, so that you don't allow, when someone treats you a certain way, it to continue. Does that make sense? All right. So my question, I'm now focused 100% on me doing well. Small reflection today. But yes, I'm attracted. I attract them like flies. It's annoying. Then you don't engage with them. It means you swat the flies away, right? It means a lot of deflecting and a lot of boundary setting. It could be your boundaries are soft in certain ways. The repellent is the boundary. You're really looking for a repellent, which is funny, but the repellent is your boundaries. The repellent is your self-respect, your self-worth, your inner guide that tells you, no, I'm not going to step into that. That when it sees something you do step into, backs away when it knows that it's not good for yourself. That's the repellent. There isn't a repellent to keep them 100% away, because there's toxic people everywhere. We just have to learn to, honestly, the more you set boundaries like this, the less they try very hard. They may try and then back off and find an easier target. They don't want, some of them want to work hard and like, you know, sociopaths, psychopaths, they might enjoy the game. But for the most part, toxic people kind of want the easiest path to get to the biggest gain. So if you're not giving to people unnecessarily, because if you're setting boundaries with your giving and your openness, you're setting boundaries with your time and your energy, there's not a whole lot of supply there for someone newly trying to get into your life, right? All right. You're seeing and spotting the signs. A lot of times we spot the signs of a toxic person because we're looking for it, and other times it's real. Does that make sense? So sometimes it's a matter of stepping back and giving a person a little bit of room to see who they really are, and other times it's a matter of completely walking away. So that's another thing, is like sometimes even survivors can be toxic. Sometimes anyone can be toxic. And so that doesn't mean that they need to be out of your life. It means boundaries need to be set. And then as the boundaries are pushed, you start to know someone's more than toxic. So that's kind of being an adult. That's the way it is. That's human interaction. I don't think there's a repellent, and it actually should become less exhausting as the red flags become obvious. And it's because we invest our emotions into it, and we invest like the desire to want to be around a person or the connection or whatever. Once we're invested, then it gets really exhausting. So take your time to invest and to attach, before you, Anyway, I find putting more energy into other empaths and folks who show empathy gives me less time or patience for narcissists. It certainly does. And it also attracts more people who are doing the same. All right. I just can't even look at her, just walk by. She's a blur. I'm aware of her presence, but that's the best I can do. So let's focus on you for a little bit for this hour, so you have a break. Because when you are in the midst of toxic people, you got to take breaks. You can't sit and drink the poison all day long. It'd make you sick, right? Strange, this is the topic. I just made a video journal entry that was a reflection back on the past 15 years. 5 years ago, health improving, more active, volunteering, happier, clear goals. Now negativity. Oh, yeah, see? But it's okay, because that's who you are. And she's in there, and you can start bringing her out, right? I mean, it's not okay that it's negative, but you know what I mean. Okay, so I'm going to go through some of this, and then I'll come back to you guys. Some ways. So somebody asked last time we were here, how do you find who you really are when you are taught that you are frequently broken down and then built up again in your life so that you can be a better person? In other words, someone is conditioning you to believe you're broken and need fixing continually. But that kind of goes across the board with how do you discover who you are after any form of narcissistic control and abuse? One thing, let's start with, where is your passion in life? What gives you joy and happiness? And what is not even joy and happiness? What drives you? What makes you want to get up and do stuff? Where's your passion? Okay, if you don't know, it's just a question to write down. Where's my passion? What is it? And start discovering it. These are discoveries. Not knowing them is normal, okay? Most of these things you may go, I don't know. And don't let it get you down. That's where you're headed. It's not where you're going to be right now. If you were there right now, you wouldn't need to be watching me right now. You know what I mean? Like, it's okay. Don't let any of this get you down. These are tools and ideas to help you discover who you are for yourself. Hi, DC guy. Ask others who are healthy and safe what they realize about who you are. Talk to people that you know and trust. You got to trust them. They have to be safe. No one that's going to be toxic to you. And ask little questions about the way you react to things, the way you see things. Just get an impression from other people who love you and trust you about how they see you. It can be fun and interesting, but don't take it too personal. That's just someone else's impression of you. All right. But it gives you a different view of yourself. So it's trying to see yourself from different angles is what I'm getting at. What's on the inside? What does it look like on the outside to other people? Take the little tiny critic. Like, people tell me sometimes, gosh, you just seem grumpy. Really? Okay. I'll work on that. Because when I'm not up, I guess I look grumpy. So, there we go. And it's not a criticism. I think about it now though, like, am I grumpy? I'm not really grumpy, but I bet I'm looking grumpy because I'm tired. Okay. Anyway, look at your, the way you are in relationships. We kind of talked about that in the beginning. There's negative and positive, right? So might look at the way you have been in relationships, especially with a toxic person, and think, gosh, I was entirely codependent. And then you start naming the codependent traits, okay? But there's also good ways that you were in the relationship. You were giving, you were kind, you were loving, you were supportive, you were patient, you were tolerant, you were friendly, you were peacekeeping, you were positive as much as you possibly could be. You were complimentary. I mean, you can go on and on about how you are in relationship, and that shows you the qualities that you have, shows you what they're after. Number one, it shows you the supply they took and what they were after in you. That doesn't mean stop doing those things. It means don't give those things to someone toxic. Those are your qualities. Those are the things you can grow and give back to yourself. If you're a giving, kind and loving person across the board, and you see that, and then you say, oh, that's what they took, give it to yourself. Don't give it to people that don't deserve it. You deserve it, number one, always. Okay. So as you start giving to yourself that way, you start discovering just how loving and compassionate and all of this that you are. If you don't give it to yourself, how are you going to believe it's there? Because you don't have the experience of feeling it. So to discover yourself is actually giving back to yourself. Does that make sense? Maybe it's just how down I am right now, blocking those things. It could be. Hi, Mo Cowboy. Also, anything and everything I did enjoy got bashed and destroyed. Right. And that's what we're talking about. So, okay. So to that I say, and now what? And now what? Now what are you going to do? Just because somebody, broke the toy doesn't mean you can't make a new one. It doesn't mean it's still not there inside you. Just because somebody broke it, it's not really broken. It's just bashed. It's bashed, right? It's bruised. It has a layer around it that can come off. The belief is what the layer around it is. And so looking at your beliefs, I'm going way out of order here, and I'm going to probably repeat myself, but looking at your beliefs around things and allowing the perspective to shift around that belief can help you discover what's really underneath it. Because if the things you enjoyed were destroyed, you still enjoyed them, and you still could enjoy some of them. You're not going to enjoy everything the same, but some of them you may still enjoy if you were able to break the belief that that thing has a negative association now through gaining perspective around it. Okay. I'm finding I'm being a bit too blunt with anyone who tries to force and that happens, Paula. Some people go through a very blunt and very direct and kind of awkward stage as they're learning to place boundaries. Totally normal. So then you'll learn a language. So give me an example of what would be blunt, and I will give you a version back you can take or leave, or find your own or whatever that is less attacking. Does that make sense? Because sometimes we don't mean to be attacking, but we do need to be direct. So this is like a fine art of learning directness that has enough of a quality to it that helps people hear you and not react to you, right? Okay. It is not easy. None of this is easy. I'm gonna qualify this with none of this stuff is easy. None of this stuff is easy. This is working on yourself after a toxic relationship is work. It's effort and it's active. It's not something we sit and think about. And I mean, I'm sitting here talking about it, but these are all things I go out and not all of them, but many of these things are things I personally go out and do in my day and my life in order to discover myself, right? In order to continue the self-discovery that it should be the rest of our life. It should be what we're after. Who am I? How do I operate in this world, and how does it relate to other people? It's pretty simple to me, but okay. So let's see, what am I missing here? You almost feel like you've never enjoyed anything, and that's sad. Well, okay, so keep listening. Keep listening. Try to listen, Iraq, with an open mind for the next, I don't know, 20 minutes. Try not to relate it to yourself. Try to listen to it with a possibility. Not everything's going to resonate, and a lot of things will trigger, and I can't, because you're in an I can't state right now, and that's okay. So if you just try to relax it just a little bit and listen with, I'm not trying to be overly positive here and say this is easy stuff. Okay. I'm trying to give ideas so that it can open a perspective in your life. If it resonates with you, if it doesn't, it doesn't. So try just for a few minutes to tell that negative sayer in you to take a back seat just a little bit and just listen with possibility. Find your potential, because you have a ton of potential. I hear it in you when you speak in here. I don't know you, so I can't speak to it directly, but I hear it when you're in here, so I know that's there. And everybody has potential. You just got to rise to meet it, right? And be willing and open to finding it. Okay. All right, so what else? Let's see. Go do something that's an adventure for you. As you're discovering yourself, breaking the mold of who you thought you were, by doing something that's adventurous, it gets you outside of your normal way of operating and into something new. It adds a bit of adrenaline, and it can give a push to see yourself in new ways. You will hear the negative voices. You will hear the negative self-talk, and you will then have an opportunity to do the other stuff that we're doing all the time, which is restating those beliefs and affirming and doing it anyway. And, it gives you a chance to experiment with your life when you do something that's a bit adventurous for yourself. All right. Okay, so this is one that's going to be hard to answer for some people and very clear for others. What were your dreams in your past? What did you dream about as a child? Doesn't matter how silly it was. Go back to that place of dreaming. Imagine dreaming as a child of the things that you dreamed about, positive dreams, not negative dreams. It may not be easy for some people, and it may be super easy for others, and it can be triggering, but that's okay in this case, because what you're doing is trying to evoke that feeling of dreaming into the present time and allow it. It's not just because dreams don't come true all the time doesn't mean they're bad things. They're what gives us drive to discover ourselves. They're what gives us drive to do new things. If you don't dream of something, you may sit in a trapped and sort of a feeling of spinning in a broken record of your life, right? So let's see. Hi, Jack. Missing anything? Okay. All right. Hello, Leslie. Okay, so also I said this a little bit before about adventure, but do things maybe that aren't so adventurous, but that push your comfort zone. Challenge yourself to push your comfort zone. When you do that, you're not only expanding your life, you are you're getting an opportunity to kind of hold a mirror up to yourself of how you are. You're taking yourself out of a routine, putting yourself somewhere new. Go to a foreign country, do something. You feel different, right? When you're somewhere new and it's and you have a different experience of yourself in situations when you're pushing against your comfort zone. So carefully and without a lot of judgment, try it out. Let's see, practicing mindfulness, bringing yourself back into the present moment, all this dreaming we're talking about. And now let's talk about just getting present with what is actually here in the moment. What goes along with that is time alone and quiet. Listen to the quiet. Be in the silence. We want to busy ourselves because our minds are busy and our minds don't stop, and our minds are often so full of PTSD, CPTSD thinking, and ruminating that the silence is terrifying. So choose minutes at a time, if that's all you can handle, to just be in the silence and listen to what's out there. Like what's in the room, just listen. Listen to what's around you. It stills things for a minute. And when you still yourself a bit, it gives you a chance to witness yourself. It is extremely difficult. So like I said, none of this stuff is easy. There will be some pieces that are easy. Like if I said smile and then I did something silly, like fell off my chair, you'd all be smiling. Okay. But which would make it easy. But for the most part, none of this is easy. So let go of the fact that it has to be easy. Let go of the fact that, or accept the fact that it's difficult and say, okay, it's difficult. Now what? And so, okay, it was difficult to learn to walk and I did it. It was difficult to, it's difficult to do most things that push you past a stage of development, right? And what we're trying to do here is develop ourself and develop our awareness of self so that we can break out of this mold of the survivor and break out of the mold of the beliefs that the narcissist placed in us that make us think we're something that we're not, right? Okay. So no, not easy. It's exercise, it's tiny steps, and it's patience and practice. That's why I put it all in one thing here. There's many things I could think of in the time I allowed myself to do it. So, okay. Write your timeline or bio. Was it Belle that talked about that, writing about her past? Write your timeline or bio. See who you've been. See where you're going, where you were going. What's your life been like? See who you get reacquainted with yourself after abuse. What do we do while we are being quiet? Just listen to what our thoughts are? No, listen to the world around you. You can listen to your thoughts and beliefs. Sure, they're going to be there. You may need to restate a few. If the negative ones come up, you may need to work on something like restating it. It's more just about not needing to busy yourself all the time, not needing to distract. How's that? Instead of quiet, let's have non-distracted moments. You could be taking a walk. It could be, what I do every day is I walk down toward the river. I sit at the river and I say nothing. I put my phone away and I just stare at the river in silence. I look at the ducks. And sometimes my thoughts are, gosh, I'm like an old lady. Look at all those ducks. And sometimes my thoughts are really negative about things that are going on in my day. And sometimes there's just nothing there. I'm just watching the river. So yeah, I guess you would hear your thoughts. The silence would be, and it's momentary, it's just that taking it in the day, it's not scary anymore, right? Because it takes practice too. And the stillness can be a way of, I don't know, it brings you back into yourself. I don't know how to describe it once you get used to it. All right. What else? Here we go. Restyle yourself. So here's a practical one. If you don't know who you are and you look at yourself and you think, I don't like what I look like, or I don't look happy. My my clothes are all black. You know, restyle yourself, give yourself a new look, put your lipstick on, do something to make yourself, just change it up a little. You're not trying to change yourself into something else. You're trying to discover what you like on you, what you like to, how you want to dress yourself up, how you want to adorn yourself, so to speak. And it's not about because you need to change. It's about discovery and play. Okay. Play dress up. Oh my gosh, play dress up. That's a fun one. Play dress up. What character would you be and why? You know, things like that. Let's see. So exercise, when you move your body, exercise like yoga, Pilates, I would say swimming, anything that's core exercise that requires some skill and some level of attention, or you'll get hurt. You know, you've got to be careful and you got to be concise and have some awareness of your body. When you bring your attention to your body like that, like when you're doing something, I can only say Pilates because it's what I do. When I'm doing something in Pilates, I will notice how different each of my arms feel as I pull on the equipment. And I'll think, wow, I'm really out of balance. And then it'll make me think, oh, I'm out of balance in other places too. But it brings me an awareness into my body. And then I think about my posture. And then I think about, you know, things like that. But then I stop thinking. And all I'm thinking about is trying to make it even and trying to make it concise. And what it does is it takes me out of this illusion of who I think I am and puts me right into the moment of just being with my own body. And that's it. And sometimes it's stopping the thoughts in that way that kind of help you disbelieve the negative ones that are in your head, because you get to have a new experience of yourself yet again. It's having these new experiences and also going back to familiar ones. You see what I'm saying? Sometimes you're doing something new and you're pushing against some belief or discomfort or whatever. And sometimes you're going into a comfortable place where you're remembering and discovering things that have in the past helped and made you feel like yourself. So gratitude, having gratitude and sharing that gratitude, being aware of people who help you, people who give to you, as well as people you give to and people you help. So being grateful for yourself for the things you do and being grateful for the things other people do, and offering them thanks and sharing with them how they've helped you. If you share with someone how they've helped you, someone's safe, obviously they have helped you, right? If you share with someone, you know what, you came into my life at a time when I really needed someone to listen to me, and I appreciate that. Thank you. You're hearing yourself validate the need you had and the fact that that need was met. And you're also hearing yourself be a gracious person. And so you're discovering, and you're going to do it different from however anyone else would do it, right? You're going to do it your way if you do it. So you get to have an experience of yourself doing something like that, which feeds the positivity of self-awareness. Okay. You made your anthem, Eye of the Tiger. Excellent. Oh, I took a picture for you guys. I just don't know. I can't post it anywhere. It's called The Hungry Tiger. It's a restaurant or a cafe or something. And I thought of you all and I laughed and said, ha, ha, ha. Okay. There's also a place called the Dusty Tiger, but I have a whole joke about that and I'm not going to go into it. So, okay. All right. Why do we feel so much guilt for taking care of ourselves? Because you were taught to. You were taught that other people come first, and you were taught that self-care is selfishness. You were taught that if you cried as a little child, you were in somebody else's way, and that you were disturbing someone else's peace, and that's selfish, and that your needs don't matter. That's why. So this what we're talking about here is ways to do it anyway. Do it anyway. Feel the guilt. It's okay. Feel the guilt, but do it anyway. Let the guilt be there for a little while if you have to, and then maybe reevaluate it in a little while and start talking about the guilt, right? But sometimes it's doing it anyway. That's why it's hard. If we didn't have these blocks and these beliefs, this stuff would be a no-brainer, right? To tell someone, go find your joy. That's my next one. Find your joy. Find it. Find it in everything. Find it everywhere you can in life. Any second of the day is an opportunity to find joy, unless you're in excruciating pain or something, obviously. But you have an opportunity multiple times a day, let's put it that way, to find something joyful in the moment. It doesn't have to be the most joyful thing in the world. It doesn't have to be life-changing. You don't even actually have to feel the experience of joy. You can just have the thought that that would be a joyful thing, or that would be fun, or that brings me happiness, or whatever. It's becoming aware of things that are positive and joyful around you, give you the experience of yourself feeling that joy, and identify them when you find them. So this is inspiring you to walk your dog and was laying in bed all day depressed. Good. You see? Keep it open. A few more minutes. I've got, I don't know, 10 more. All right. But I'm learning belly dancing. Okay, Angela, I've been doing that too for, I don't know, less than a year, but love it. So much joy in the dance of the belly. It's just so much joy, isn't it? Even though it's hard and it's awkward and you have this really weird experience of your own body, it's different, it's new, it's challenging, it pushes you, the music is amazing, and the teachers are usually the most positive people who are very grounded and rooted in their bodies. So it's amazing, it's fun. Anyway, so yay for that. Something like that, learning any kind of dance, learning anything. Anyway, okay, finding joy. Acknowledge your uniqueness. We have been taught to hide it. We have been taught that that's a flaw, right? That our uniqueness is a thing to be criticized for. It's a thing we've been devalued for, or we think it is, right? Honor it, acknowledge it, find the places where you're unique from other people. That's what makes you you. And you are worth discovering. Telling you, because I don't know, I personally would be interested to know who any single one of you are. So why aren't you? Right? Like, why can't we have as much interest in ourselves as somebody new might have in us? We have to have some interest in ourselves. This is how it's the way through to self, is just discover who you are. So, okay. And as you're doing that, as you're discovering your unique qualities and understanding that those are not imperfections, they're uniquenesses, what new things are you learning about yourself? So anytime you have an experience, what are you learning about yourself? Okay, all this self-talk does not mean we're trying to be so self-absorbed that that's all we think about. Guaranteed is probably not going to happen, right? Because other people are going to draw us out. We're going to be focused on other people. It's just going to be, that's how we are. So obviously all this stuff isn't what you do all in one day. These are just ideas. Okay. Pay attention to how you feel when you're happy. So as you discover your joy, notice what it feels like in your body. Notice what thoughts come up when you're happy. Those are the things that elevate you. And when you stay up there for just a little while, you start creating new neural pathways that help you go to that place easier. If that place is only a place you reach once in a while, it's going to be hard to achieve it, right? Without a lot of external help. So, okay. Hi, thought continuum. Who did I miss here? I said hi to Angela. Okay. So perfectionism. Okay. It kind of goes with what we were talking about. The perfectionism that we were taught we have to have is because we were devalued, and we were taught that we needed to be better and more, right? In order to be worthy of anything at all. We know, if you think about it, in how would you feel about a friend or your child or a loved one that felt that way about themselves? Would you feel that they were right? No, I don't think anyone would. So why do we do it to ourselves? So perfectionism is an area to work on letting go of, and realizing that your uniqueness and your true self is imperfect. It's perfectly imperfect, and it's meant to be that way. That's how we discover new things. It's how we learn. It's how we innovate. What you fail at is might be something that pushes you to discover something new, right? So it's not bad things. It's a place to work on letting go of that perfectionism and realize it's a programmed belief and it's not yours. It's somebody else's, and it's time to shed that one. Look for areas of your life where you feel empowered. It may be a simple matter of, I am empowered to get dressed in the morning, or I can brush my teeth well. I mean, it doesn't matter. Whatever the thing is, those are areas of empowerment. What are you achieving in your day? You can make to-do lists if you want. Making a list of things that you've already done can help you see where you have some power in your life. It's little things. It doesn't matter if all you did is lay around in bed all day. You laid around in bed. That was your choice, and that's what you did. And that's okay, right? It's not a negative. It's not something to be negative or positive about. It's something to look at and go, okay, I made the choice, and therefore I was empowered in that moment to make that choice. All right. Or I was laying in bed and I don't feel like, I feel like the depression made me be there, but I did choose whether or not I'd pull the blankets on me. I did choose whether or not I'd turn on Netflix. I did choose, like the things that you are choosing. It doesn't really matter what the choices are, so don't judge them, but look at the things you do in a day to help you see the empowerment you have because what that does is it teaches you that you can change your life. It gives you the sense of having some element of input in your own life. All right. Perfectionism is so destructive. The greatest enemy of a good plan is a dream of a perfect plan. Karl von Clausewitz. Yes, isn't it? Yeah. Okay. New mantra, let me replace the need for perfection with progress. Life will pass me by if I keep looking for perfection. That's right. It doesn't exist. It is, and if it did, you'd be bored by it. I mean, some things, if you look at something that is so perfect, like a newborn baby, they aren't perfect because everything lines up. They're perfect because of their uniqueness, right? And the innocence and the light, right? So that's what we're seeking in us. Okay. All right. I'm missing some stuff here because I'm just going on here. We're adults now, know better. I can still speak to my mother immediately. I feel that way because what she says and others speak to me the same way. I immediately feel not deserving. They're right. And so that's where we have to lay the new thought patterns that once the triggers happen, replace the thought. I am not deserving. Wait a minute. Okay, that's a wrong thought pattern for me. That's not going to serve my life. What I want to feel and what is true is I deserve what everyone else deserves, right? There's nothing inherently wrong with me. And yeah, and I'm a good person. Okay. Okay. So other ways to discover yourself after toxic abuse or any time in your life that you feel that you have lost yourself. Okay. This is kind of what we're talking about. Who said that? Was it Leslie? What Leslie said, which is hear the negative patterns of thoughts. Okay. And work on ways to disbelieve them. You can't think about triggers and heal the triggers. I don't think. Maybe you can. I don't know. I feel like the best way we get scared that something's going to trigger us, but really that's the opportunity to make the change, because that's when your brain is active. That's when your adrenaline's up. That's when all of the systems are on high. If you make the changes, then you're speeding up your process of healing. Does that make sense? Because you're in a heightened state. You're in an exaggerated state of being. So when you have that trigger and you feel dragged under, or you feel triggered and the adrenaline's pumping or whatever it is, that's the time to start using this stuff and actually do the work of restating that belief. Even if you don't believe it, to restate it with words. Language is so powerful, especially the one that's silent in your head. So as you work to do that, you can speed the process up from taking it from a theoretical state into an active working state of healing yourself. Does that make sense? This is it's work. You're walking the dog and listening. Yay. You have a good walk. Play with tempo. I do that. I love it. Play with tempo with the walk. See how that feels. Change it up a little so that you get a different experience of yourself walking. Maybe. I don't know. Ideas. Okay. Let's see. Speak up. When you have something to say it. Part of why we have the live chat is for that very purpose, right? I can't read them all, but you guys are talking to each other and you're being heard and you validate each other and even if we miss one, that's okay. You can talk later. We don't need to be heard for everything we said, but we do need to be able to have the confidence and the ability and the desire and the drive and all of that to be able to speak what we wish to speak. So speak up. Speak clearly, learn languages. Back to what Paula was saying about feeling like when she sets boundaries, it's what did you say, driving people away or something because they're really firm and direct. So then it's learning to speak up in a way that is able so that people can hear you. Sometimes we come out awkward at first and then we learn and we soften and or get more firm depending on who you are. Like some people are way too soft when they're learning boundaries and they have the opposite problem. So it's a matter of finding the balance for what feels like you speaking those words, right? And it's awkward at first. So that's an interesting one. Another way to discover yourself is to help others. Go out in the world and help people. Volunteer, help nature, help animals. When you do that, you have the experience of yourself, what? Being giving. And back to the gratitude, there you go. And it's not that you're doing it so that people will like you. You're doing it so that you can learn to like yourself, right? And yay, tempo, music. Hey, there you go. Okay. Yeah, sometimes it's James Brown and sometimes it's like mellow stuff. It doesn't matter. Music helps, gets the tempo changing. Yeah, we'll be walking for a little while. Good. Yes. Okay. Mornings are powerful. Morning and night are powerful to make plans and affirm our commitment to ourselves. Yes, they are. Set your intention. Your intention behind the difference between the narcissist and us is the intention. Oh, that's a huge difference. Their intention is for self-gratification only. And the protection of, well, not only self-gratification and the protection of the fragile ego that they wear as a mask. Our intention is for connection and communication and to be able to live a life that's more authentic to who we really are. And that also includes the pouring and the giving out of energy and things toward other people. So you see, intention is so much of everything. Okay. Very awkward trying to find the balance with my boundaries. They're entirely black or white right now. And that's so normal. So you're in a good place because now you're in self-discovery about boundaries, which is great. It's okay. It is hard. We know this, but it's still a place of learning. And you're like a toddler with it who keeps falling on their bottom when they're walking, but it's still a great place because look where they're going to go, right? You're heading somewhere. You're getting there. Okay. Lise, I felt so attention starved. By the time my marriage ended, I had no one to talk to and got ghosted at home. I've become comfortable with complete silence. I don't prefer it, but it's okay now. Makes sense. I'm thankful for everyone here and the help. That helps a lot. And sometimes a lot of us do go into a shell and we need to start coming out in order to discover ourselves more, in order to get into this space of self-discovery of who am I, right? And so sometimes, again, it might be pushing your boundaries then to get out of the silence and into a bit of the crowd. Not that you have to go into the big crowd. I mean, by crowd, I might mean like one or two people or not even interactions, but just being around it, around some sound and activity. My issue is I have major trust issues. Not joking. It's so bad. I've isolated myself. I go out alone. I do leisure alone, everything. Worst part is people love to talk to me, but I don't trust anyone. So as you learn to trust yourself, as you learn to trust which is what you're doing, what you're discovering about yourself right now, from what it sounds like, is you're testing boundaries, you're testing working with boundaries, you are seeing the red flags, You are, what else have you said? You're gone, no contact. You're in this state of placing things in place so that you can learn who you are again. So it makes sense that you don't trust anyone, because people, you don't know their intent. How could you? You never will. But once you start to know that how you operate around certain things, like if you know that if someone is being completely toxic to you, you will walk away, then you can trust the situation more. You don't have to trust them. It's foolish to trust people fully without knowing them, right? For most of us. So it's okay. It's feeling safe enough within yourself to talk to people anyway and start letting the trust come in. It's been since I was 18 when my boyfriend cheated. It makes sense, and we get guarded. So it's maybe working. As you learn to trust yourself, though, you learn to see that you will have your back. It can get easier. It can be a different way of looking at it, at least. And some people are more guarded and less trusting, and other people are not. So it could be you're just, things to work on, but also that you're intelligent and you see things as they are. Okay. So remember that every moment is a new now. So anytime, this is kind of what I was saying earlier, anytime is a place to begin. All right. So we get really frustrated sometimes when we feel like we don't know ourselves and we don't know what we like or what it feels like everything. It feels like everything. I just don't know anything about myself. I don't even know, that's a new moment to begin any of these things, or things you can think of to start discovering who you are. Do I believe in super empaths? I do. I believe I'm probably one. I do. Yes. I like actual space between me. A cat is saying, I like actual space between me and everyone. Is there a polite way to get physical space respected? There will be situations where that can't be, where that's not possible. Whenever possible, sure, there's a polite way. I would need scenarios to think of ways like what's happening now that makes you feel rude, and what or not polite, and what is the scenario? I can't think of that. INFJs, are most INFJs super empaths? I don't know if most are, but a lot are. A lot are, because it's a super highly perceptive, intuitive personality type that has deep, deep, deep feeling. And when we dive to the depths of, it doesn't matter how deep, we'll go there. Okay. And at the same time, there's an assessment and a judging of what's going on in the situation, the big picture, all of that. So the feelers that we have go really spread far. Right. And so, yeah, I think a lot of INFJs are, and INFPs, ENFPs. I mean, a lot of empaths are super empaths, but I mean, it's okay. I think that's what's stopping me growing. How so? Say more. How is it stopping you? Because you're too sensitive, so to speak. Too sensitive. I don't mean it like that. You know what I mean? Because you feel like that the sensitivity is too high. With carts and people push into your space. Oh my gosh. I just turn around and say, excuse me, don't push into me. I don't know that I would be polite if someone was pushing into me with a cart. I mean, I don't know. I'm direct. I just tell people, could you please back up a few feet? Or, could you just say please and smile and ask for what I need in those kind of situations, when it's actual physical space needed in a situation where there should be an allowance for it and they're pushing into me. Okay. I feel like a sponge. Everything. Okay. Yes. All right. So yes, I get that. You can heal anyway. That part changes as you heal other things. As you trust yourself with boundaries, you may take something in that was too much, but the boundary stops it from getting in too deep because you go, oh, wait a minute. Nope, that was a red flag. Not letting that person in right now. I don't trust them yet. And the boundary is what keeps it there. Does that make sense? When we don't have clear boundaries of what we want for our life. So it's not just the negative, it's also the positive. I don't know. So an example I even take on injuries when I heal clients. I used to do that with horses too. Like I'd know where the horse was hurting after I rode them. If they had an injury or whatever, if we couldn't figure out, like, oh, I think it's their shoulder. And sure enough, it's the shoulder, right? But let's see. So there's a book called Empath Survival Guide that I like. That might have some tips for you, Paula, in that book. Judith Orloff, Dr. Judith Orloff wrote that book. And I think it's fabulous because it gives tips for how to be a healthy empath in multiple ways. A lot of it didn't speak to me at all because there's things about it that just didn't click. And a lot of it spoke to me very clearly. So, I think and she talks about different types of empaths. You might enjoy that. You might like the read, if nothing else, but it has really good ideas in it. You can't shake. Okay, tell yourself, you're saying, I can't shake the last client's injury. So here's a way to work with that statement. I'm struggling to shake the last client's injury. You can shake it. It will go. It will. It's not going to be there for weeks and weeks, hopefully, but it's not going to be there forever. It will. You can't shake it on your own. Okay, change the word can't to it's difficult. It's difficult, or I'm struggling. I'm struggling to shake, or how about that? I would like to shake. I would like to shake this last client's injury. I would like it to be out of and the book's called Empath Survival Guide, and it's Judith Orloff. No, you're not crazy. This is normal. This is part of being certain types of empath. Okay. Yeah. So that's self-discovery on a different level, and it's important stuff. And if you keep working on the other parts of your healing, this stuff changes too, and it comes up, and then you learn ways to work with it. He's bouncing around happy, and now you have his injury. I would do some mindfulness breathing. I would move my body in. Maybe if you do yoga at all, I would breathe and ask it to leave. Give it to the earth. Things like that. Visualizations, if you can visualize the pain and the emotional attachment to that injury, because most pains have emotional attachment, even if it's, ouch, this hurts, there's an emotion behind it. Push that into the earth can take it. Push it out your breath into, there's kind of woo-woo, but this is kind of the way we're working. We're talking about something on an energetic level, not on a psychological level or a level that we can physically measure, right? You only know what we're talking about if you experience it. So maybe trying something like that, where you feel your feet on the ground and push the pain out into the ground intentionally. Barefoot. There you go. Barefoot on bare ground if you have a place. There you go. Right in the dirt. Stick your feet in the dirt, breathe, and push that pain into the dirt, and tell yourself, this is not my pain. I only held it for a little while for someone else. Let it move through you. It's kind of similar to coaching, where as not to take on all of your or clients' pain, right? Have to have some way to release it. Yes, it's and get that book. I think that you will find yourself in that book. Find people who understand you. There you go. There's one way to do self-discovery. That doesn't mean you're looking for their validation 100%, but having some validation that what you experience as a sensitive, highly sensitive, empathic person is real, can be super validating, and can make you realize what you have there as a gift, Paula. And it may not be a gift you want right now, but you healed someone's pain. You helped them move the pain through themselves. Now you just got to get it out of you and keep yourself safe. So can you see how painful it was when Simone ended and my heart in the leaves? Yes. I know how painful. This is why I do this. I know how painful this is, not just on a psychological level. I know how painful it is to make the break from someone you've held the burden for, because that's what we do for a narcissist. We hold their burden. That's what they need us to do. That's what supply is. You're not only giving to them, but you're holding the burden of who they are for them. And you're holding their pain. So yes, I do understand. Okay. All right. What else? So listening is one way to self-discovery. Listening, sometimes we think we're discovering ourselves by listening to what we think we want to say, right? We think we're in a conversation with someone and they're talking, and we go, oh, and we want to talk, and we feel like that's us expressing ourselves. That's actually us listening on a really surface level. It's actually us listening from ego and anticipation of speech, and from wanting to be heard, and from emotion, and from, the parts of ourself that are more surface. If you listen on a deeper level to people, if you listen quietly and you listen actively. So active listening means taking a breath and actually taking the person's words into your ears and hearing what they're saying and trying to have some understanding of their experience before speaking. With a safe person, with a person who is not dumping their stuff on you. I'm talking about light and happy things for a while, because I wouldn't send you out active listening to somebody else's pain when it's just going to trigger this empath response, right? But the happy things, light things, when you notice a conversation is going in the direction of happy and joy, stop and listen. Stop the thoughts that make you want to speak before they finish speaking. Let yourself hear them and let that come in. You would think that would shut off your, you would think, when I first started working with this, I thought, oh, this is just going to shut off my stream of thought, and then I won't know what I'm saying, and then I lose myself to them. But actually what it's done is brought me deeper into myself, and my responses are way more thoughtful. And then what I see is myself having a mature conversation, even if it's totally daffy. Okay. So active listening is a way to help you discover yourself. All right. What else we got going on here? Found it. Okay, good. Excellent. I'm going to re-listen to that because I like that book, and it helped me a lot. I think that's it. That's what I got right now, you guys. There's more, but I can't remember where I left off because I've jumped all over the page. I think that's it. That was a long talk. That was an hour. Anything, you guys, that I missed, any questions or any issues or anything you want to talk about that I missed, or that you might want to talk about, now is the time. Hit me up. Let me know. Also, what do you want to talk about tomorrow? Anything that you want to talk about tomorrow or next week? Let me know. My ex keeps poking at my boundaries for a reaction. I'm wondering what the difference is in setting boundaries and gray rocking instead of reacting to every poke of the boundary. The difference between, I'm not clear on what you're asking. Thought continuum. You're asking, can you restate that? I'm sorry, my head's still on topic. And I'm not seeing what the question is there. It sounds like that you would need to try it out and see what the difference is in that situation for yourself, and how it makes you feel empowered to not engage. Non-engagement is empowerment with a narcissist. It empowers you. It may feel like it's not empowering because you're not getting your thoughts heard. You're not getting your words listened to. They're never going to hear or listen anyway. The only power you can take back is having self-control and not sharing the information that they're just going to use against you. So does that answer that? Maybe not. I don't know. Maybe I missed the question. I'm so sorry. Yes, when you enforce boundaries. Enforcing boundaries versus gray rock. That would be a situational. I would do both. Enforce the boundary, then gray rock the reaction. Simple, small boundaries at first so that they don't have a narc rage at you. But yeah, that's what, since you have to talk to them, I think I would do both. And I don't, gray rock is a boundary. It says I won't engage. Gray rock is a huge boundary. It says I am not engaging in your ridiculous banter. Nope, not going there. It's a huge boundary. So it's a similar thing, I think. And then once you do that, what the initial boundary was, whatever the thing was that you're having to gray rock about, then you can reinforce that. It works together. Okay. Can what you're saying be true of respond versus react? Yes, it is this. It's the same thing. You can't respond to a narcissist. Well, you can respond with gray rock. You can't respond to a narcissistic attack, gaslighting, because there's nothing to respond to unless you gray rock it. That's really the only response that ends the situation, diffuses. The point is not to engage and be heard, because you're not going to be heard when someone's gaslighting you, because they're gaslighting you. They're not going to stop in the middle of it. That's what they do, right? So yeah. And then I guess when it's not a narcissist, then yes, it's similar. Well, I don't know. Maybe I'm not following the question now. All right, you guys. Anything else for next week, let me know, or for tomorrow. You can always leave it in a comment of a video. I will check them and read them and do what I can. If it's a topic I can, depends how much time I have to prep, Okay. I'm glad you guys all joined me. I appreciate you being here every day. You guys are a great little community of people, and I love to watch the support as it's flying by my eyes, even though I can't read it all. Yes. Okay. You're right, Belle. The pain is felt acutely by empaths. It's a gift, but guidance helps. It does. And ways of self-protection help, and ways of letting go, because we don't need to hold it forever. Sometimes you feel it and you have to breathe it out and let it go. And it's going to be different for each person, because different techniques will help depending on who you are. All right. Okay. You're welcome. I'm glad that there were lots of tools that could be useful. You guys go out there and discover yourself. Journal. There's one I forgot. Journal about your day. Journal about your life. Journal about your thoughts, your feelings, all that stuff. Journal your dreams. You can discover yourself through dreams. Pay attention to your dreams. Look for the symbols and see what they're telling you. Anyway, all kinds of ways. Could go on forever and ever about how to discover yourself. It's actually fascinating, and it's actually a fascinating and rich field of study. Okay. All right, you guys, I'm going to head out before I get more daffy and silly and crazy here. Okay. Especially if you find yourself in a fog. Yes. But you're there with yourself. Finding yourself is being with yourself. How's that? Finding yourself is being present to yourself. But how do you get there? Lots of tools, lots of ways. And find joy, you guys. Find it. You can have a miserable day and also joy. Yesterday was crazy. I had 2 dance classes in a row because I was cramming it together so that I could do it this week, right? And the time that I had allotted. So I did 2 in a row, 2 hours. I was so full of endorphins and so happy all day long because I did this dancing. Belly dancing is amazing for the mood. So I'm doing this. My core is tired. My hips are tired. I'm like, woo, worked out. Want a nap. Can't take a nap. Got to work. So I'm working. I'm in the middle of a coaching group. Speaking of which, coaching group started this week. If anyone wants to join, there's no wrong time to join. You can join at any time. The link is always in the main section of any of the video, the main description of any of the videos. And it's a great group. So check it out if you're interested in that. But anyway, I'm in the middle of this and I hear water dripping and my ceiling is pouring water. Meanwhile, I hear a child upstairs saying, "Mom, something's wrong with the sink." And there's water flying everywhere. So I'm having like, yeah. But you see, at the same time, I never let go of that joy. I was freaking out, right? And having to fix it, and also stressed because I'm working at the same time. But you can hold the joy as well. As soon as it got calmed down from that experience, got it cleaned up, figured out what's going on, turned the water off, all that stuff. It took me a while, but then I was super irritated, and I know it's going to be expensive and blah, blah, blah. And, thinking of that, but at the same time, I was still happy from the day. You can have both. My point to this whole thing, go find joy, even if your day is miserable, even if you feel like you are in the thick of it, go find something joyful. It really does help you balance. Okay. All right. You're welcome, Belle. Goodbye. Hi, Shastina, and goodbye, Shastina. All right, you guys, you take care. If you would like text notifications of when I go live, please text me at 33222. Put the words Lise Live, LISELIVE, one word, and hit send. And I will text you 10 minutes prior to going live every time. If you have not done so, please hit the subscribe button. Please hit the thumbs up like button. And let me know if I can help with anything else. If you need information about coaching or group coaching, it is all in the main comment section of any video. My email is there. Also, you can always ask me anything you need there. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.